Mark with Samaritan's Well, and we're continuing our series on shame. We've talked about an overview. We've talked about what shame does and how it gets in. We're going to talk today in part 3 on how shame gets exposed or known. It's going to have to be brought into the light. It's going to have to be exposed before we can do anything with it. We have to acknowledge there is a problem before we're ever going to address it. So a few of the things I want you to consider about getting shame exposed or known is actually going to be looking at some of the things I may be doing if I'm responding to shame. So some people hide. That's what Adam and Eve did. They hid because they were naked and ashamed. Right? They started out naked and unashamed, but after their sin, they were hiding and ashamed. So any kind of hiding or running or escaping, these are some profound ways that we know that there's something that's shameful, some kind of condemnation that I need to face. Escaping is one of the things that we see most. People are at parties, they're getting drunk, they're getting high, they're escaping through television or social media or whatever they might be doing to escape and to keep running fast enough so that that train of shame doesn't hit them. It turns out that we have to stop and face it to actually get freedom. But so hiding, running, escaping, isolating. We look at isolation, and so often there's some kind of shame or condemnation that's there at the core. Remember, we said shame is equal to condemnation is equal to I am bad. Something about me is bad. It's stuck to me somehow from some of our sources, from others, from myself, from the enemy himself. God doesn't condemn because Jesus said, the Son of Man didn't come to the world to condemn the world or shame the world, but that the world through him might be saved. So a couple of other ways that shame could be known is blaming others. I may have something in myself, but I'm always looking to judge and blame others. It keeps the spotlight off me, and I keep the relationship off balance by constantly blaming or judging as opposed to looking in the mirror at myself first. Jesus said, don't be a hypocrite. Take the log out of your own eye, then you could see clearly to take the splinter out of someone else's. So blaming or judging could be a sign that there's condemnation. And then this is a classic sign of shame or condemnation. I sabotage myself. The people that are continually sabotaging their lives in small, medium, or large ways, I always look for a source of shame. Why are you judging yourself, condemning yourself, and believing that you need to have something bad happen to you? Because that's what sabotage is. So one of the things that I have to do to get shame exposed is I have to get past the pride that is keeping me from looking at those deeper things. What are some of the deeper things that pride could keep me from looking at? Maybe my anger or my lust, my fear, my grief, even apathy or guilt. And remember, guilt is the closest thing to shame. Guilt is, oh, I have done something bad. Shame is deeper, I am bad. And so how do we get it exposed? In James chapter 4, verse 7, from the Passion Translation, we hear, so then surrender to God, stand up to the devil and resist him, and he'll turn and run away from you. Now, what goes with this? Move your heart closer and closer to God. Remember, shame says go away, but the antidote is come toward. Move your heart closer and closer to God, and he will come even closer to you. But make sure you cleanse your life, you sinners, and keep your heart pure and stop doubting. Verse 9, feel the pain of your sin, Be sorrowful and weep. Let your joking around be turned into mourning, and your joy into deep humiliation. Be willing to be made low before the Lord, and He will exalt you. Shame begins to get exposed as I humble myself, as I confess, as I have the courage to look deeper into the things of my heart and my life. Lord, I'm willing to be made willing to know myself, to know all my sources of shame, whether they come from others or myself or the accuser of all mankind. Anything that has shaped me, I'm willing, God, for it to be uncovered. Ask the Holy Spirit to help you see sin and to see shame as God sees sin and sees shame. Pray for the gift of tears. Allow the grief to lift it to the surface, and we'll begin to get shame exposed. We have to get it exposed, the sources of condemnation, before we can get to the antidote for shame. I hope that helps. And remember, all our resources are available at SamaritansWell.com. Thank you.